Hey everybody, hope you guys are all doing well today. In this video, I'm going to go over the ZRX protocol. In my pursuit of doing a deep dive into DeFi, I came across the ZRX protocol and I wanted to share with you guys what I found. And I'm going to do my best to condense everything down to a 10 to 15 minute presentation talking about what ZRX protocol is and if I think it's a worthwhile investment. And if you're a big fan of DeFi, centralized finance, digital assets, I cover all that and much more, including the legacy market and politics. I try to tie it all back together to give you guys a broader picture of what's going on in the world. And if any of that interests you, I welcome you guys to join my Discord channel. And it's especially nice to be part of a group when we've had this huge retracement in the price of Bitcoin, because with a robust community, you have a sense of support and you can gain insights to how people are going to play the market moving forward. If that's something you feel like would interest you, just follow me on Twitter, send me a direct message requesting access to my Discord channel. I'll provide you guys with a link giving you complete access to the Discord channel. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into this video. ZRX or OX is a decentralized exchange protocol designed and created to disintermediate the middleman. In legacy markets, this would be the traditional brokers. They can charge you any fee that they want, they force you to custody funds with them, and the users on the platform don't have a large voice. By replacing the middleman with a decentralized and distributed network, ZRX hopes to resolve some of the issues plaguing centralized exchanges. Moreover, ZRX hopes to create an ecosystem that enables users to trade various tokenized assets like gaming items, real estate, crypto assets, and even one day data storage. To condense that down to one sentence, the ZRX protocol basically acts as a middleware that allows peer-to-peer transactions of an infinite variety of tokenized assets. Unlike most DEXs, ZRX does not match orders on-chain. They leverage Ethereum smart contracts to process orders off-chain. When an order is matched, it gets settled or published on the chain. This innovative model helps remove bloat off the network, and by doing so, it also reduces the fees because you don't have to spend gas off-chain. For a potential long-term investment, depending on where I come in an investment cycle, unless you're looking for a quick flip, it makes a lot of sense, especially for a medium to long-term investment, to evaluate the tokenomics of a given project. I've actually published a deep dive into tokenomics on my Medium page. If you're interested in learning about my insights and opinions on this matter, I recommend you guys check out the link in the description below. Coming back to the review, the ZRX protocol has a native token, ZRX. It's available on a lot of reputable exchanges, including Coinbase. In fact, a lot of the members in the ZRX protocol project have strong ties to Coinbase. But the token itself has two main utility functions. First, it's used to pay relayers for matching orders. Relayers are basically third parties that are building on top of ZRX to host off-blockchain order books, and they charge a fee for this service. Now, in this video that I'm about to play, you'll learn of the important role that relayers play in the ZRX ecosystem.
Across the token landscape, there are two primary tools for trading: a centralized exchange, similar to traditional financial districts, and a decentralized exchange, made possible via blockchain smart contracts. Now with the ZRX protocol, we're seeing the rise of a third tool, enabling what we call a modular trade network. To understand the importance of this new model, let's take a closer look at the first two. A centralized exchange is similar to a traditional financial exchange. One entity manages closed liquidity pools holding large amounts of tokens in fiat currency. Access to these pools requires an interface and a wallet provided by the exchange. A token owner creates an account and deposits some form of fiat currency. They can then withdraw or trade their currency with other assets available on the exchange. Assets are always held by the exchange, so if it goes down or closes, a user's funds can be locked inside. A decentralized exchange uses a proprietary interface and smart contracts to onboard and facilitate the trading of supported tokens. In this model, users trade directly from their wallet or tokens deposited into the smart contract. The bulk of transactions happen directly on the blockchain. As long as private keys are maintained, assets can always be obtained from the blockchain, even if the exchange disappears. While this is a stepwise improvement from centralized exchanges, this model can present scaling issues by bloating the network with transactions. It also still requires a centralized entity to build and maintain the smart contract protocols. The ZRX protocol removes the proprietary aspects of the first two models and separates the bulk of trading action from the blockchain, leaving a set of open-source smart contracts anyone can plug into. This opens the door for a new system using order relayers. A relayer operates an off-chain order book and an interface or API. Instead of depositing tokens to a smart contract or liquidity pool, the token owners merely create an order and sign it with their private key. The relayer maintains these orders on their book, and when orders match, the ZRX protocol facilitates the transfer of tokens from one owner's wallet to another. The interesting part of a modular system like this is that multiple order books from different relayers can plug into each other, forming networked liquidity. Conversely, multiple niche interfaces can all plug into a single order book, allowing for mass adoption based on user preferences. Advanced users can broadcast their own orders and trade directly with each other using the ZRX protocol. No third party or relayer needed. As the token economy grows, this modular approach opens the potential for entire blockchain ecosystems built on the ZRX trade protocol, allowing multiple dApps, relayers, and token owners to transfer assets and utilities between each other fluidly. Utilizing the ZRX token for governance will ensure these modular trade networks will be updated and strengthened through consensus. This will mitigate security risks and create standardized operating methods that can't be created using proprietary centralized models. In the future, when more and more assets become tokenized, modular trade networks will become a foundational tool in developing this new economy.
One flaw that I found in this utility feature is that the ZRX protocol doesn't mandate or require the relayer to accept fees in the ZRX token. In fact, in my research, I found that the highest volume relayer accepts fees in Ethereum rather than ZRX. I suspect that this could potentially change in the future as the project becomes more widely adopted and the token achieves a lower level of volatility. I think naturally you might see newer relayers opt to get paid in ZRX rather than Ethereum. And on top of this, my hope is that the team will provide incentives in the future so that way people that are deciding to be relayers are given strong motivation to pick ZRX over any other token out there in the ecosystem. The second utility feature, and I think the utility feature that initially will drive most of the organic demand for the ZRX token. The ZRX token allows the token holder to have voting rights in the governance process. In other words, they can vote on proposed changes to the protocol. And in terms of governance, they've devised a scheme that will put the voting power in the hands of actors that are going to act in the best interest of the protocol and the entire ecosystem. In a few minutes, I'll explain exactly what that is. But for now, you guys can see that it's clear that the team is taking deliberate and conscious effort to promote the adoption and demand for the ZRX token. And this stands in contrast to a lot of other projects that basically care more about how much money they make than they do about promoting the adoption of their utility token. Now, just to experiment, I decided to stake 500 ZRX tokens in a few different pools. I staked 125 in this pool, 250 in the Rego pool, and 125 ZRX in the Veridix pool. I started staking them towards the end of January, and since then I've been paid out the following amount of Ethereum. I've ran the numbers, and based on the volume that we have today in the ZRX ecosystem, it's actually more profitable for me to lend them out on Celsius. And if you don't know what Celsius was, I recommend that you watch one of my past reviews, and you can access them by clicking the upper right hand corner of your screen. But again, for me, I'm actually making more money there, and on top of that, I'm accumulating more ZRX tokens by doing so. My current plan is to monitor the volume on ZRX, and when the volume is substantial and these rewards get bigger, then I plan to move over my ZRX tokens to one of these various pools. And so for now, I'm going to keep these tokens on these platforms just to see which ones end up being more profitable. That way, when I'm ready, I can actually, double down on the pool that's going to provide me the most profit moving forward. And on top of that, since my ZRX tokens are accumulating more ZRX tokens on the Celsius platform, when I'm ready, I'll have more tokens to stake. And in my view, it's a great way to earn some passive income by providing liquidity to one of these various staking pools. The market makers manage these pools, and they use the pool liquidity to create 0x orders that are filled by takers through the exchange. This benefits the makers in two ways. Number one, they don't need to expose themselves to the volatility of the ZRX tokens. Number two, 50% of the voting power is delegated from the token holder, which is me in this case, to the pool operator. And again, these are the pools, so whoever's operating the pool, they would get the lion's share of the fees that are generated through market making. And the reason the team decided to delegate voting power to these makers is because they wanted to give most of the voting power to a player who would act in the best interest of the protocol. Because ultimately, they plan to have the protocol become self-governing. And to do that, they need to make smart moves early on. And so in their view, makers have the biggest incentive to make sure that the ecosystem grows. So in theory, moving forward when it comes to changes to the protocol, they would probably act in the best interest of the entire ecosystem. And therefore, by acting in the best interest of the ecosystem, they're also acting in the collective interest of all the players that are participating in this ecosystem. Before I discuss the investment prospect of the ZRX token, I wanted to be fully transparent with you guys. I think at this point, it's pretty obvious, given that I'm staking ZRX tokens, that I've opened a position. And the reason I did that was because I wanted exposure to everything that's going on in the DeFi space. So I decided to do a deep dive into the OX protocol. And after my research, I decided that it was a worthwhile investment. And by the way, if any of you guys have any suggestions for investments, particularly in the DeFi space, I encourage you guys to comment them below. This way we can all share and learn about potential investment opportunities in the DeFi space. Now I'm going to share with you guys 5 main reasons why I decided to open a position in the ZRX token. Number 1, the team publishes recent developments publicly. They have routine calls that they publish on a regular basis. Anybody can access these. In my view, this is equivalent to a shareholders meeting, and it allows the community to get a good sense of where the project is going. If at any point you feel like the project is headed in the wrong direction, you can reduce your position. Or on the other hand, if you think the project is going in the right direction, then you can add to your position. I think people in general love passive income. If this protocol becomes successful and popular, I suspect that the potential to earn passive income through staking ZRX tokens will go up in proportion to the growth and adoption of the OX ecosystem. Thirdly, it's very obvious at this point that they've deeply thought about how actors act in their self-interest. Using game theory as a premise, they've constructed this incentive scheme that encourages people to act in their self-interest at the same time acting in the best interest of the protocol. To illustrate the point, consider the example I provided earlier in the video about the makers and how intrinsically they're incentivized to grow the ecosystem, because as it grows, they make more profits. And for this reason, the team felt that the voting power should be concentrated with the maker. And they did this by delegating power of individual stakers to the maker. So 50% of the voting power that I have goes to the maker when I stake my coins, my ZRX tokens, in their pool. Theoretically speaking, the maker will only vote for enhancements that favor the growth of the overall ecosystem. Implementing game theory this early will greatly aid in the project's success. In my point of view, it's the ideal framework to use when you're developing and formulating incentives onto the platform. They're also creating products like OX Instant that will enable websites and apps to give their respective users access to OX's order books. Imagine gaming apps allowing users to easily trade gaming items directly on their platform, rather than going over to a DEX and, executing the trade there. Not only is this going to bring additional liquidity to the OX ecosystem, I also think it will help broaden its adoption. Another product that I think is very good for the ecosystem is this API that aggregates orders from OX Mesh, Kyber, Uniswap. This allows users to easily split up orders across multiple decentralized exchanges, lowering the fees and also the slippage as well. I can see all future DEXs using this API to access a large liquidity pool instantly. Now, for the reasons I just outlined in my video, I've decided to make ZRX one of my early DeFi investments. The price today is trading lower than my dollar cost average price, but I'm okay with that. Once things swing back around, I think this token will have huge potential. Before I end the video, I just wanted to quickly ask you guys to subscribe and click that notification bell. If you found any value in the content that I publish, smack that like button, and also consider checking out my Patreon. I try to do a deep dive into various tokens on a monthly basis, and sometimes I just don't have the time to publish videos on them. However, if you're a member of my Patreon, depending on which tier that you choose, you'll have direct access to me, so we can either chat online or we can have regular talks over Zoom or Skype covering a wide variety of topics. In fact, I've had numerous sessions already with current clients. Even though I allocate only 1 hour per session, oftentimes these sessions go on for 2 to 3 hours. So I strongly encourage you guys to sign up now, because when we head into the bull market, I expect these slots to fill up fast, and everybody who signs up early for this will get a 50% discount. So if you're interested, make sure you guys go ahead and check out my Patreon page using the link in the description below. With that being said, this is CryptoOneStop signing out. I'll talk to you folks next time. Bye.